Alright, hello everybody, welcome back. We have another WhiteFox VOD review today. This is Plat 2. They say they need tips. I've been playing WhiteFox since she released. I'm about to get Lord on her, and I still feel like I don't really understand how to fully use her kit. Like when to use her E and ult. I feel like I'm doing good because I've gotten MVP a lot with her. I know that doesn't really mean anything, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something. I am also losing quite a few matches in combo using her. So if you could review a couple of my games and critique them, that would be great. Also, you can review some other matches if you want. So they gave a couple different codes. I went with the one that was a loss. I think it's best to review games where you lose because you actually get punished for a lot of your mistakes. It makes it a lot easier. Going on. A couple words to start with. Yes, you're absolutely right. MVP doesn't really mean anything. Stats you can pull useful information out, but I wouldn't recommend it until you're higher ranked and you have a pretty good understanding of what's going on in general, because stats can be extremely misleading. So I wouldn't worry too much about the stat board. Don't worry about MVP, things like that. They don't really matter. Let's just try to look at impact. And then your melee form and your ult, they both kind of do the same thing, but to varying degrees. And so the way you want to think about it is it's kind of like a momentum tide turner. You don't want to save it for ultra defensive for either of them. And you don't want to be ultra aggressive. You want to take it to where you're in a losing fight, and if you ult or you use that melee form and it's time to go, you can change the fight and like get a pick, get a kill, save a teammate, and turn it from a losing fight into a winning fight. That's the basic idea of it. So let's start. Let's see what we can learn. I already don't like this. try to pay attention. Okay, I don't like that. Okay, so our positioning is all out of whack. So the way you want to position as a support is you want to look at your line of sight. Okay, so if we do this and we just like take all the walls and stuff out of it, right? So let's just take a look. And let's do this. So check this out. You're here. This one's you, right? And right now, your line of sight is something like this. And then there's probably some walls in the way, right? And so all the people you can see, you can heal. So we can heal this person, this person, this person, and this person. We cannot heal this person, okay? Now, what you're going to see right now is there's walls in the way that block our line of sight. I think there's one here, another one here, something like this, right? And so that's going to block the line of sight. So now we actually can't see this person or this person. And we could probably heal these two. Okay? So immediately our positioning is already not great. And then as you see, you're going to walk down and lose sight of more people. And then as we jump back up, we kind of gain more line of sight, but we're too close. Since we're too close, now that the Hulk jumped back, we have to either choose. I'm either going to look over here and heal these people, or I'm going to look over here and heal these people. Now, if you're standing back here, it's a much easier decision to make. This is much better. But we're just too close. And then we're going to try to heal these people and then lose sight of it again. And then now we've actually backed up into the enemy, which is not good. So we got to be careful about how we position. Just keep in mind your line of sight. You want to keep as many people on your team in your line of sight as possible, especially with WhiteFox. Yeah. And then because we had bad positioning, we weren't using cover. That forced out our TP. And then since we forced out our TP, we have no plan of getting back. Your only way back here is to take this and get back up. I mean, technically, yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's really important on this map that you stay back here. This is where you want to fight. If your team wants healing, they need to come to you. And you need to have a plan of escape, right? So you tried to heal and then you went back this way, which got you in trouble. Instead, you should try to heal by staying behind cover, staying out of line of sight. What's up, Chaotism? Yeah, I think you're probably right there, Churro. Blood Hunt. And then I think people aren't playing as much ranked as well. I think the negative win rate climbers are really, really bad. So this is partly This is partly not knowing the map and partly having bad positioning, which kind of go hand in hand. So just from now on, you always want to position up here. If your team plays down there, doesn't matter. Hang out up here until you are forced to drop. All of this was because you dropped early. Okay, nice. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. So a couple things here. So we're in a decent enough position, but now it's actually kind of time to drop. Once the payload gets to about here, this is no longer defensible because it gives an open line of sight to the DPS of the enemy team, which is exactly what happens, right? And you can't deal with them and also help your tanks. So if you look at what happens, you look over here, right? And now you're fighting a 1v1. And what's happening down here? Now your Magneto has lost support, okay? So they don't even actually need to kill you in order to push the payload because of this. So at this point on the map, you have to drop back down to here and then regain your composure. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, and we've talked about positioning a ton. Now let's talk about our cooldowns and like what they're for. So your melee form can be great as a peel tool, as a survival against specific enemies. Okay, most of the time it's going to be enemies that have a high time to kill, so it takes them a long time to actually kill you, and so because of that they stay in your backline for a long time. So that's things like Captain America, kind of Hulk depending on how good they are, Venom, like all these tickle monsters where they're just always back here. Sometimes Blade as well. So it takes a long time. On characters like that, then it's great to use melee form and actually like brawl them out and force them away. On characters like BP, I would put, so far, we still don't know too much about this character, but Black Cat I think is one of those where the time to kill is really short. They want to show up, kill you, and get out. Those types of characters you want to use your tail for, your right click. You charm them, you shoot them a couple of times, you shoo them away like a fly, and then you go back to your job. So because we choose the wrong ability for the job, we go into melee form, but since like BP and Black Cat, they attack from a distance and they move around a lot, so we're not getting the benefit of it. So gotta drop down, gotta have better positioning, and then use our abilities correctly. Hey, do not TP, please. One of the easiest ways to get killed is like get killed. Okay. All right, so once again, our positioning, we're a bit too far up. Here, with WhiteFox, you can be a little bit farther back if you're confident with your aim. So you want to have cover. If you watch where you stand, we'll do this one more time, just to really like nail the point home. Look at all the cover you could have. You could have cover here. We'll do it. You can have cover here. You can have cover here, right? Not really here. And this is all open. And then there's cover way back here. Okay. So you are just about as far as you can possibly be to every piece of cover that's possible. You want to make sure that you're using cover. So that way, if you start taking damage, you can choose to stop taking damage instantly, right? Like imagine there's a Phoenix up here or a Moon Knight. If the Moon Knight comes out right here, you are now forced to use your teleport cooldown, right? If you're up here and the Moon Knight shows up, all you have to do is scoot to the side, and then you can keep healing, and you're fine. If you're over here and the Moon Knight shows up, you scoot to this side, and then you can keep healing, and you're fine, right? So make sure we're using cover. The next thing is when we're talking about aim, and I'm trying to tell you to back up a little bit, we do have to be confident with our aim on WhiteFox. A lot of people don't realize just how much healing you miss out on if you're not hitting your shots directly. So since we're still uncertain, let me just break it down how WhiteFox's primary fire works real quick, just so we know. So whenever you throw it out, it hits a target, and then it bounces, and it hits a second target, okay? Now, when you throw the first one, the first hit, so this one hit Magneto, that does 50 healing, I believe so. And then the second target, it went and bounced and hit Hulk, I believe. The second one does 35. This is the same for if you hit the floor. Now let's watch one where you hit the floor, just to really nail the point home. You're hitting 50, 35. Okay, now this one we missed, right? So here, now the first target that it hits gets the 50, which is nothing. And then the second one only gets 35 healing. So you miss out on 50 healing per shot, which over time, that turns out to 58% less healing. All that to say, that's the math behind you really actually have to aim. And aiming with this character is like extremely important. So if you're not confident in your aim, that's something you have to like really work on. But that's something to just really keep in mind. Oh, my Lanza, never do this. Yeah, this is a good time to actually go in melee form. So here we have a Thing in our backline. Thing is another one that you can actually kind of brawl with. You just have to be careful to be next to them. You never want to TP behind enemy lines as WhiteFox unless you know the situation confidently. Look at this from the enemy's perspective, right? We TP right here, right next to a WhiteFox, a Magneto, a Moon Knight, and a Gambit. Like, all four of these people, if you're playing against better people, so like as you get better, you play against enemies that are better. All four of these people are going to be like, yo, WhiteFox behind, no TP. The call out's going to go out instantly and you're just going to die. So you put yourself in a really bad spot here. The better option would be to whip out your melee form, stay by cover, and just start brawling. Because you're going to give a bunch of healing, you're going to do damage, you're going to stay immobile, and you're going to be on your side of the field. But we don't use our TP. Their charm. Now we whip it out. Whenever you do use the melee form, you don't want to spam both of the dashes instantly. Using one is fine, but if you do it wrong, you put yourself away from the enemy team. You really need to stay close to actually do damage. So stay close, do damage, only use your dashes to actually stay close to people or to get out of danger. Gambit for sure. Really? I don't know. I mean, if you're talking full comms, yeah, Gambit's great. In the ranked ladder before Celestial, I don't think Gambit's all that amazing. Okay, this is another part of the map that I don't think we understand. Here, it's like, we lost the point already. The next place that we're going to take a fight is actually back here. So I would start backing up. Keep in mind that your teleport is a 15-second cooldown. Or it's 12 seconds, excuse me. I think the melee form is 15. That's a really long cooldown. If you mistime that, you will get punished for it. It's like one of the most common callouts that I make is WhiteFox, no TP. It's just like, it lets you know, hey, you have an easy target. Okay, so we didn't rotate earlier. Now we're forced to use our TP again. Now Thing can probably ult. Okay. So we're not doing terrible. But I think we lost sight of the kill feed here. And we let the panic get to us. So just make sure that if you go into settings, audio combat mix, scroll down and go to KO sound cue. This is off by default. What this does is anytime somebody in the game dies, it plays a sound effect. So if you watch up here, it plays a little sound effect. It makes it easier. Because if we're not paying attention to that, then we can't really understand what the momentum of the game is. Right now, you've used one support ult. You have a Hulk ult going on. And we've got 2 kills. And the enemy team is in like complete disarray, right? Like, look at the positioning. Our team has isolated 2 people. This person's out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by 4 people. So that's an easy kill. and then Thing is off doing nothing. So this is a big win for your team already. And then we ult when we don't really need to. Like, I wouldn't have minded your melee form in this situation. But an ult, definitely not. Like, you can tell we didn't need it. Okay, now we need to back up. You are frontlining. Have a little respect. Okay, this is a habit that I see so many White Foxes have. Your instinct when somebody on your team is low should not be teleport. Teleport, technically, you give them a little burst healing. You give them a barrier. I understand the logic behind it. The problem is it's a 12-second cooldown, and it's not for that. If you need to do burst healing, especially with a Venom who's on the way out, you want to use your tail, right? You want to use your right click. It's on a shorter cooldown. It still does the burst healing, and then it doesn't have that other purpose of you. It needs to be your get out of jail free cards. Like, now would be really nice to have a TP because our bad positioning has forced us to need to use it. And we don't have it. So you can see instantly, like, we're using it to bail people out when that's not really what it does.
I'm back, and I'll be more sly this time.
Yo, what's up, Paulo? How's it going? What's up, Lord? Okay, once again, we're not using our cover. Look at what this looks like from the enemy mag's perspective. I think probably has a good line of sight of us, right? So he walks up, and then you're behind cover, so he can't shoot you, and then you just walk out of cover, and he gets free shots on you. So as we're shooting, you need to have awareness of like where your wall is. Hug the wall, shoot this way, and then instead of like walking forward whenever we want to heal somebody. Just make it really easy to get yourself killed. White Fox is a top 3 support? I don't know about top 3. She's good though. With dive meta, White Fox really good. Hey, that was a good use. I like this use of your melee form. I think this is underrated. That's a risky TP, but it can work. Just be careful. Getting out with your melee form, I think, is fine. Okay, now the fight's over, so just get out. You have no chance of winning this. And you have no cooldowns. I just stop healing and get all the way out here. You're just going to get yourself killed and staggered. Okay. This is fine. I don't mind this. Okay, make sure we're actually hitting our shots. It doesn't look like we're being very intentional here. Like here we kind of shooting at Wolverine, and then we kind of start shooting at enemies, even though Wolverine is low and not taking damage. So make sure we're being intentional with what we're shooting at. So this would be another time, instead of TP, to go into your melee form. You have a bunch of people low, and everybody's close together. You go in melee form, you might even be able to kill this Magneto. This is where White Fox excels. If you want to play a support that's like, I'm going to heal and I'm going to help my team, then play a different support. Play Luna, play Invis, play Cloak, right? If you're going to play White Fox, you need to be able to like make plays. This is a perfect turn the tide scenario where you guys are down a tank, the enemy team's down a tank. Everybody on your team is low, but close together, with the exception of Venom, but don't worry about him. And there's a Magneto who you could possibly kill. If you go in melee form here, and you don't even have to use your dashes, just get close, start doing a ton of damage, and pumping out healing, you force this Magneto back, or kill him. That's a tide turner. That they all... I don't understand what happens to your Phoenix. All right, so once again, this fight is now over. let's back out. The next place you're gonna actually have a fight is all the way to here. And the faster you realize that and the faster you get out, the better it's gonna be. So hopefully we do that. Just get all the way out. Don't stagger. Don't even care. Nice. Need to keep going. Keep going. Uh-oh. Okay, nice. Okay, now is go time. I would go use your melee form. Go brawl with your Hulk. There you go. Good. And then you use your dashes to stay close. Yeah. I don't like the ult as much. Yeah. Maybe. Uh-oh. Okay, we're just like way too lost in the sauce. If you don't know what I mean as lost in the sauce. So this is a really hard part of playing WhiteFox. If you think of this as a pizza, okay? So if you draw a circle around everybody in the game, at least everybody in the fight, it's normally a circle like this. The inside is the sauce. This is not really where you want to be, okay? You get lost in that sauce, and then like, now if you want to heal people, it's like really hard to see what's going on because in order to see everybody, you have to back up. This is not really where supports want to be. You want to be more on like the edge, like here, right? And then you don't want to like go in and get all the way into here and like go crazy. Like that's just not really what your character does. You want to be more patient, calm on the outside. So what I would recommend is understanding like the lines. So in general, this is probably not the best example. Let's see if we can find a spot where it is a good example. All right, this is a good example, okay? So we have the two lines. Okay, you have the enemy front line right here, okay? You have the friendly front line right here. You have the enemy back line over here, and you have the friendly back line, which I guess I'll use. Friendly back line, okay? This is pretty much how it all goes down. Even when the fights break down, this is where it is. You want to stay behind your front line here, and not get too deep into the enemy backline. Unless you're going full dive or full brawl. Which is really difficult. And as long as you are going full dive or full brawl, you still don't want to be right in the center. Okay? So you don't want to... If you're going full brawl, you don't want to be in the center of the whirlpool. So if you draw a circle around everybody on the enemy team, if you're in the center of this is going to be bad. Because you're going to get sucked in and you're going to get killed from all the angles and you won't be able to tell what's going on. You want to be on the edge over here, on the edge, on the edge, on the edge, something like that. That's going to help you out a lot. The next thing is when you're building this skill of like brawling as WhiteFox, you need to be able to train your brain to see things that are going on around you and not get lost in the sauce. One of the best ways to do that is to just pick one target and stick with them. If you're a support, like a hardcore support like Luna or somebody like that, pick one of your friendlies and stick with them and make sure they don't die, okay? If you're like a DPS or a tank, or even sometimes WhiteFox, pick one enemy and stick with them and just track them through the fight, no matter who's going on. Right here, like, we're doing damage to Thing, and then now we do some to Magneto. Now we're kind of trying to heal, doing damage to everybody. And then here, once again, we do a little bit of damage to WhiteFox, or to Black Cat. And then we split up. So you don't really want to split your attention. You want to find one person and, like, stick with them. And you can see how you're getting lost. You tried to chase down Moon Knight, but then we lost it, so we just gave up, and then we went to Thing and things like that. So pick one, stick with them. That's going to train your brain eventually to be able to, like, follow. Pick one, stick with them. Once you get really good at that skill, then we can reassess and use the skill to get the best value by picking the correct targets and switching targets when we need to. But we can't actually do that until we're really good at tracking just one through the team fight. Like, especially Marvel Rivals, there's so many abilities going off. There's so many ults, so many voice lines. Like, it's so easy to get lost in the sauce. I was gonna ask, it was either Churro or Jake. Somebody said somebody else is doing VOD reviews. Is that like becoming more popular? That's unfortunate. Okay. So whenever you use the charm, you definitely don't want to aim at the ground. Your charm, your right click, it is a great burst healing tool. So when you see you have multiple people over here that are low, it's a good idea to use the charm. But since we hit the floor right here, it stops and it doesn't actually make it to them. So this is where cursor control comes in. We can't play this character like Cloak, where you can just bounce things off the floor. You really have to actually aim at the people that you're shooting at, or else you're going to lose a ton of healing. Yep, this is the time. And that's how it goes. This is just the last fight. Happens. Let's see how we do on attack. Yo, what's up, Boo? How's it going? Oh, is there like other content creators who are doing this? I haven't seen too many people do it, but... Okay, so one of the downsides of melee form is if you don't have somebody in your sights that is an easy target. So by easy target, I mean somebody who doesn't move around a lot, right? So like Rogue is really difficult to get a lot of healing out as WhiteFox because she's moving around and you can't keep up with her. Magneto, on the other hand, he has no movement abilities. So if you pop your melee form and just attack Magneto, then you can heal everybody around the Magneto. Now, is that applicable right now? Not really, because everybody's scattered. So this just isn't really a good use. And since you're in melee form, you're not getting any healing out through this whole time. So you really have to know your target. Yeah, content creators. I think I'm subbed to like 4 of them. Oh, interesting. Well, rip my niche. So this is a great example to talk about like diving. So if you're playing a character, if you're playing a support, you're going to deal with dives. So let's just break this down at the very beginning to understand the point of it. Now, what's the goal of this person diving? The goal is not to kill the supports. The goal is to get the supports to stop healing enough to where the front line dies. That's the goal. Now, one way to accomplish that goal, a method, is to kill the supports. If you kill the supports, they're dead for 10 seconds. It takes like 5 seconds to walk back from spawn. So that's 15 seconds where these people are not going to get healing. But that's not the only way. If this WhiteFox literally stands here and you shoot at her for 10 seconds, that accomplishes the same thing without even killing you. So understanding that, that's where we talk about the shooing away thing that I was talking about. Right? So if we go over here, if you see Black Cat, she's not really doing anything. She doesn't require attention. She's getting ready. And so we can like keep looking and understand in the back of our mind like, oh, there's a Black Cat over here. Once she shows up, I'm going to have to deal with it. Okay? So over here, we're going to help. And then because we didn't do that, we let the Black Cat completely isolate us from our team instead of walking up with our team. Now that we're completely isolated, now our team's going to have way less healing. And then we have to use our TP to get in, and we put ourselves in danger. So just be really careful of like what a diver actually wants. You're the only one doing consistent guess the ranks. That's true.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
I really dislike his vibe. Oh. I find Boger entertaining as well. I feel like the exact same. I feel the exact same, Churro. All right, so once again, I want to call out our positioning. So if we just take a second to look, there's cover here. We're going to use green. There's cover here. There's cover here. There's cover here. There's cover here. And once again, we're as far as possible from all of these covers. It makes your life so much easier. Because look at this Moon Knight, right? Look at what he has to shoot at. He can see you right here. He can see you, and in order for you to get to cover, you have to go all the way this way, right? Whereas imagine just for a second that instead of here, you're right here. All he had, look at the difference in what he gets to shoot at. It's so much easier. Much better. Now that we take pressure, now we get to cover. But imagine how much better it is if you're already in cover.
That's much better.
Okay, I don't mind this ult. I don't mind this ult. This is actually a pretty good ult. We force out an ult. Our team has momentum. Oh, you gotta stop TPing in. Okay, it didn't work. Time to get out. Either get out or die as fast as possible. Nice.
I'm back, and I'll be more sly this time. Vortex field. You won't be needing that. Anyone willing to help? That's much better.
Get that vehicle moving again.
Once again, we're trying to get an angle to see. I would much prefer if you look at cover. This is another great time for melee form. Well, I mean, Rogue's going to be hard to chase down. So if you have another target that you could chase down, then yes. I hate this. This is really bad. This is a cause of staggering right here. So right now, your whole team is dead. Okay, so this fight is definitely over. So this is either die or get out. The likelihood of you getting out here is basically 0 unless you literally turn around and have somebody to TP to. Your invis is dead unless she goes invisible. And if you're healing her, she's not going to be invisible, right? People are going to be able to track that down. So what you want to do here, ironically, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you want to die as quickly as possible. The longer you take to die, the longer time that these people are going to be spawned in without you. So watch what happens here. We delay our death. It's possible to die right here if you just like sprint at the enemy team, make them kill you. But instead, we try to keep our invis alive. So she lives for an extra 6 seconds over these, right? And then we keep ourselves alive for another 5 seconds after that. And now these people are back and ready to go, and we're dead. So what's going to happen? This is how staggers actually happen. Okay? Now they're already fighting. Like this. Like that. But yeah, so because we took forever to die, we had to use both of our cooldowns just to get to our team. And they're long cooldowns. And so now we're with our team, but we have no cooldowns. And since we're here, we're just this easy target. So try not to do that. So remember what I said earlier. What's the point of this rogue diving? It's to get you guys to stop healing the front line. These guys are dead now. So what do you do in this situation? Let's back up. First of all, we have to be using cover. And we have to realize Rogue can't just show up and kill somebody. It takes a while for Rogue to actually do damage. So you stay here, you charm her, and then you look at the front. You go here, you charm her, and then you look at the front. And you have to manage both of these together. If both you and your invis are trying to shoot this rogue is winning. Look what happens. He uses his bubble, he's not getting healing. He has no cooldowns, he's dead. Both of your tanks are dead. That's a good trade for rogue. Luckily, your mag has a brain and actually gets to cover. Now it's forced out. The ult, because you have no other options. Good TP out. Nice. Okay, so now we have to back up. Mag's a great target for melee form. And then we lose our dash, and now we're not getting any healing. Okay, now we're on Mag. Yeah, there you go. Look how much healing it does, by the way. Like, look at your teammate's health bar. The second you start hitting, they survive all of this, even though you guys are down 2 people. You have somebody in spawn and somebody dead. Like, it does a lot. If you can get really good at melee form, you can do so much healing and so much help. So yeah, there's a lot of tips here that we went over through the whole video. If I want to summarize it, we need to A, use cover better, B, give up on a lost fight, back out as far as you can to the next defensible position. Look at how you use your abilities. So for your TP, you used it way too aggressively and then you didn't have it for defense. You need to use your charm for defense and for critical teammates, so for burst healing, things like that. And then you need to play your life a little bit more and respect. A lot of the times you back up towards the enemy instead of getting back out to the next set of cover. Okay, I didn't really make that point well, so let me do that real quick.
Score 0.
So if we just go to a part on the map, let's see, what would be a good part? I didn't make this point, but it is really important. So if you look here, right? All the cover right here. We have cover here, cover here, cover here, and then cover way over here on this corner, right? When you start getting pressured out, a lot of the times what your brain tells you to do is you like to take an off angle over here to where the enemy team, they can't see you. And you can still see your friendly team, right? You have line of sight here. That's what your brain is telling you to do. This is really not what you want to do. You want to give up this corner and go to the next one, right? So right now we're fighting here, okay? We're using all this cover. Our team is in this area. We're over here helping them, okay? So just imagine we're right here, and then we have a tank like here and a DPS here and something like that, right? And so our healing is coming in and helping these guys. Now, once they get pushed back, you should be thinking, I'm going to get to the next set of corners, okay? So let's go back over here. Now we have cover here, here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and then over here, and like using this hallway is also really good, right? So when this gets pushed out, you need to back up to the next set, 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 something like that. Instead of getting trapped over here and then being forced to use our TP to get to here. Then, because we have our TP, if we're sitting here, right, and then we get pressured out, now we can TP and use it instead of TPing to here and then we get pressured out and then we die. It's going to make your fights last so much longer. So anyway, there's a ton of information in this video. I hope it helps. you know, make sure to join the Discord. We have a ton of people. Make sure to read chat down there during this. They always have lots of good tips. So, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps. Good luck with White Fox. Take care. God bless. Catch you guys next time. Bye.